You have come at a good time. As you may have heard, we have something of a quandary on our hands. Laxon Loft here in Lakeland. Yulmore has sent one of its airships. They have questions for us concerning the death of the Light Warden. Their emissary makes his way here even as we speak.
I suppose the sky does rather give the game away.
Indeed. 'Twas inevitable they would come knocking. The only question was how soon.
My lord, I am come with the Yulmoran emissary. May I show him in?
A moment, Captain, if you would. Everyone, gather round. I do not wish to show our hand prematurely. Forgive me this liberty. Vanish. Enter. Well, well. The commander of the Yulmoran army himself. To what do I owe the honor, General Ranjit?
The Light Warden is dead, Exarch. Were your people responsible?
You are clearly in some haste, my lord. But before I address your question, you must allow me one of my own. What is Yulmore's interest in this?
His benevolence, Lord Vorthri, is gravely concerned that the actions of an ignorant few may jeopardize relations between man and Sin Eater. Should it transpire that the Crystarium is guilty of abetting the villains responsible for this outrage, my lord has decreed that it suffer the same retribution.
I see. Since you have been so candid, I too shall speak my mind. Regardless of who is responsible, the Crystarium rejoices in the Light Warden's death and welcomes the return of the night sky. If Yulmore considers this tantamount to aiding those you term villains, then by all means, carry out your retribution. Know, however, that even should every innocent soul in the Crystarium perish, nothing can stop that which has been set in motion.
Folly. The death of one or 1,000,000 Sin Eaters changes nothing. The world is dead, and writhe as we might, like maggots in its rotting course, it will not be reborn. Only by my master's grace may we live out our days in peace. But I waste my breath. You have made your stance clear. I shall relay your words to Lord Vorthri. In the meantime, you would do well to counsel any here who have done more than merely rejoice in recent events, to throw themselves upon Yulmore's mercy, promptly. One last matter. We are searching for a young artist and his assistant. Know you of whom I speak?
An artist and his assistant, no. I cannot say I do.
What a pity. Should they reveal themselves to you, I bid you hand them over at once. My master is most eager to see them again.
Am I imagining things, or did he just stare straight at us?
I fear he did. The General is not a man to be trifled with. He is a warrior of fearsome repute who has led Yulmor's army since before Vorthri's time, when the nation still spearheaded the fight against the Sin-Eaters. One does not command the world's mightiest army, and for so long, without possessing exceptional instincts.
If Yulmor chose to send such an individual, we must assume this talk of retribution is more than an idle threat. While we are grateful for your support, my lord, we cannot in good conscience put your people in harm's way.
'Tis noble of you to say, Master Alphino, but my people have been in harm's way since long before you arrived. Yulmor has ever yearned to rule over what remains of the world. Even should we surrender the Warrior of Darkness to them, they would find some other pretext upon which to invade. The people of the Crystarium know this only too well, which is why, when the time comes, I am certain they will fight to the last man. If truth be told, I would not have been surprised had Ranjit declared war here and now.
He may have reason to delay. According to reports, the Yulmoran forces at Laxan Loft were observed taking a prisoner. A young woman believed to be none other than the Oracle of Light, Minfilia. It may be that General Ranjit wishes to convey her to Yulmor before commencing hostilities. Having mentored generations of Minfilias, it would not surprise me if he had made her capture his chief concern.
Of course. How remiss of me. I had intended to speak to you of Minfilia. There is, however, much to say, and precious little time in which to say it. I think it best that you seek out Maren at the Cabinet of Curiosity. He'll be able to enlighten you. Alphino, Alize, would you care to accompany your friend? You doubtless have insights of your own to offer on the matter.
All right, though I'm still not sure I understand it all myself.
In the meantime, I will set about making provisions for war. You are doubtless eager to attempt Minfilia's rescue, and with your combined strength you may well succeed. But as I said earlier, I do not wish to show our hand unless absolutely necessary. "'Twas not merely the night sky that you restored to us, but hope. Hope for the future of Norvrand. Unlike you, we cannot contend with the Light Wardens, but so long as hope burns in our hearts, we will fight on regardless. This I will prove to you." My friends, I thank you for gathering at such short notice. There is something I would ask you all. As many of you are aware, I received an emissary from Yulmore a short while ago in the form of General Ranjit. To my dismay, the General condemned the slaying of the Light Warden, and warned me in no uncertain terms that, should the Crystarium cast its lot with the Warrior of Darkness, there would be war. Let none be mistaken. We would be hard-pressed indeed to resist the might of Yulmore. Some would even call it suicide. And yet my heart cries out to fight. Better that than relinquish the hope that swelled in my breast when I beheld the night sky for the first time in 100 years. Or so says my heart. My mind, meanwhile, reminds me that to follow my heart would be to risk everything we have accomplished thus far. Clearly, this is not a decision to be made lightly, nor less alone. And so I put the question to you all. What should we do?
My lord, you already know our minds. It brought tears to our eyes to witness the Knight's return. The whole of Norvrant deserves the same, and not just because some children's story tells us so.
Yulmore's influence is far-reaching. Should war break out, trade would be subject to restrictions. The flow of goods will dry up, and we will struggle to make do with what little trickles through. But make do, we will.
Aye, we can weather such hardships. Is that not the very thing the Crystarium was built for? We have always taken pride in our ability to sustain ourselves. Not just to endure, but to thrive.
When all falls down around you, rise up. Those were your words. There may come a day when all hope seems lost, but even should the rest of the world give in to despair, we shall not. We shall fight on, that our children and our children's children might know a better tomorrow.
Rousing words apart, I never much cared for those Yulmoran bastards anyway. No better than common swindlers, most of them. Wouldn't know a fair deal if it came up and kissed them on the arse.
Trust you to spoil the moment.
It appears we have a consensus. Let it be known that the Yulmoran host at Laxon Loft has taken the Oracle of Light captive. They fear the power she holds over the Sin Eaters, and doubtless intend to imprison her once more. So, I move that we rescue the Oracle, grant her a place among us, and let that be our answer to Yulmore's ultimatum.
Hear, hear!
Hear, hear!
In planning a strategy for the rescue, I open the floor to you all.
And there you have it. If Yulmore wishes to denounce us as villains, then we shall embrace our villainy. Will you do so as well?
We will not be outdone. Consider us your partners in crime.
My lord, our proposal is as follows. We begin by deploying Amaro to occupy the skies over Lakeland. They should serve to delay the airship's departure. At the same time, we scatter dream powder from the air. Not all will succumb to its effects, but it should thin the enemy's numbers, affording us an opening to swoop in and liberate the Oracle.
Very good. See to your preparations.
And what exciting crimes would you have us commit? Speaking for my fellow villains, I'd say we're capable of most things, though we draw the line at indolence.
If excitement is your desire, then I bid you join the guard. Captain Lena will give you your orders.
Keep moving. What now?
The Crystarium, I guess. Desperate fools. It'll take more than a handful of overgrown lizards to ground us.
You're gonna be... Sound the alarm!
Captain, the powder has taken effect.
It is time. Let us free the Oracle from their clutches.
You boy, you bear a striking resemblance to the artist my master seeks. By all means, keep your counsel. You will all have ample time to confess your crimes back in Yulmore.
Thancred?
So, you are the wretch who stole her from us.
And what if I am?
What? Pathetic. Vermin such as you are not worthy of the Oracle.
Break!
Fool! You would see your city razed.
I would sooner see it razed than conquered. Suffice it to say, we are ready to receive you.
What now, Exarch? Will you face me yourself?
I think not, General. I've quite exhausted my tricks. If you mean to give chase, I will not stand in your way. But you would do well to tread warily, for your quarry goes to a place where even Yulmor dare not bear its steel. Ilmeg, the Fairy Kingdom.
To think that mountain of indolence still had the energy to unleash his hounds. Even the most pointless of conflicts may alter a world's course. And now the plan has gone awry. But how? How did the so-called Crystal Exarch bring the hero of the Source to the First? As if I didn't have enough on my hands already. Then again, with a soul such as that, mayhap there is another way. One which does not require bloodshed.
Not so long ago, here in the shadow of the northern ranges, lay the great kingdom of Verbert. A nation with a proud history that the Sin Eaters cut short, just like all the rest. Since that time, these lands have become a haven for Fey folk. Dreamers frolicking amidst the ruins of a forgotten realm.
We should be safe enough here. It's good to see you again, my friends. I don't know about you, but it feels like years since last we met. 5 of them in my case.
Why, it only feels like 1 to me, but long enough to warrant a more convivial reunion either way. What brought you to Laxon Loft?
The girl, Minfilia, she and I were traveling together, hunting sin-eaters. But as we were nearing Lakeland, she abruptly ran off on her own. I found her too late to stop the Ulmorans from taking her prisoner. And as I was considering rescue options, I observed that the Crystarium was on the move. So I consulted the Exarch, who apprised me of the details of the operation and issued me certain instructions. Should the situation take a turn for the worse, I was to see you all safely to Ilmeg. And here we are.
Urianger has called this place home for a while now. Yet we have never called upon him, I am ashamed to say. 'Twas only at the Crystarium that we met.
Hardly surprising. This is not the sort of place one visits on a whim. Happily, having trespassed on Urianger's hospitality for a spell, Minfilia and I have an idea of how things work around here. Sooner or later, the Ulmorans will come after us. But before they do, the Exarch bids us accomplish 2 things. First, rendezvous with Urianger. And second, eliminate the Light Warden of this land.
So, Minfilia. What made you leave Thancred behind, if you don't mind me asking?
You. The hero from another world. I was asleep when I felt it. A presence. Someone I was meant to meet. They were close, and I knew I had to go to them. But with all the commotion in Lakeland, I was afraid that Thancred wouldn't let me.
And would I have been wrong? Had I arrived a moment later, you would be back in your cell in Yulmore. And now we have Ranjit snapping at our heels. You really have outdone yourself this time.
I'm sorry. Thank you for saving me.
Oh, poor thing being scolded so.
Poor thing. Who said that? Show yourselves.
Come now, put away that frown and have some fun with us. Yes, let us have some fun. Lots and lots of fun.
Which way was it to Urianger's?
We've been there so many times, but I can't. Why can't I remember?
Damn it all. We're already caught in their spell. Farasitha, Krakleath.
shall know our trick.
Wait! I recognize their souls. These two have been here before.
Look! Twins! How adorable!
Oh!
Lay with us!
We have neither the time nor inclination to play. We have come to see Urianger.
Oh yes, Urianger, the peculiar one. In return for a place in Elmeg, he agreed to a riddle contest with us for 7 days and 7 nights without any sleep.
Oh, that was so much fun! We must do it again!
I'm sure he'd be delighted. Now, if you'd be so kind as to lift your spell.
Shall we? Should we?
Would we?
What now?
I don't know, but this is their home, so we must indulge them.
Right, we've made up our minds. We will lift our spell on one condition, that you first lend us a helping hand. Or 2, or 3. Once you've helped solve all of our troubles, we'll let you see Urianger. Pixie's honor.
Well, there you have it. Pixie chores. I suggest we split up.
You're late! Late! I've been waiting for you to summon me ever since you came here. Waiting and waiting and waiting. But my sapling didn't so much as utter my name. Such a heartless thing she is. Cold and cruel and heartless!
Another self-important little brat. Just what we need.
Reminds me of my childhood.
All right, I'm sorry. It was a joke. Honestly, just a joke. But just now you called for me so earnestly, so fervently. I couldn't possibly stay angry at you. Very well. As your lovely branch, I will lend you my strength.
Well. If it isn't Theo, the mold feel. It's been too long.
Not long enough for you to think of any new games, though, apparently. If I were you, I'd be bored of myself. Now let me make something clear. That mortal is mine. No matter what you do, she will never be yours. Never, never, ever!
Oh, not even a bit. But what about the others? Surely we can keep them.
No, you can't keep them either. They're for my amusement and mine alone. And if you lay so much as a finger on my sapling, I'll scatter the contents of her bag all over your precious village. There'll be cold, hard metal, furry, festering food, stinky, sweaty small clothes, and all manner of other terrible, unmentionable things. How would you like that,
All right. But will you not at least let us play with the twins? Just while the others go and see Urianger?
Aye, that's all we ask. And we promise we'll play nicely.
It seems we won't be joining you.
Aye! We'll reveal the hidden Thernic to you at once.
So this is the true Ilmeg.
How are you feeling?
Better. I think I remember the way now.
Apologies for the delay. Shall we go and see Urianger?
Your lovely branch is useful, yes? So whenever you're in trouble, you must remember to make use of me!
Urianger, are you in?
Unto a world weary of heroes, a hero wends her way. The Exarch did send word that thou wouldst seek me out, but ne'er did I imagine thou wouldst arrive so soon. Full glad am I to see thee once more, my friend, and none the worse for thy travails.
Run along, Minfilia. We will meet you outside.
But...
Another one for you to imbue, if you'd be so kind.
I take it thou hast met with our other comrades already? That Master Alphino and Mistress Alize now travel in thy company is of great comfort to me. As for the rest, it beginneth in earnest. The hunting of the Light Wardens, and perforce the war with Yulmore. Hark thee then to my words, and through them behold the vision that I did glimpse, that of the 8th Umbral Calamity. As I drifted hither to the first, traversing the boundary twixt reality and potentiality, I did bear witness to events yet to come. There I saw the combined forces of Eorzea and the Far East offering fierce resistance to the legions of Garlemald. So fierce, in fact, that they did begin to push the enemy back. Ilm by painful Ilm at first, then Yalm by Yalm, and Malm by Malm in time. Yet the joy they felt was short-lived, for in so doing they did force the Empire's hand. Faced with defeat, the Garleans turned to a weapon most vile. Black Rose. Its potency defied all reckoning. Once released, the gas took on a life of its own, wreaking untold carnage not only in Eorzea, but in the provinces of the Empire besides. From fighters upon the front lines to babes in their beds, none were spared. And as the casualties became too numerous to count, so did the fabric of civilization begin to unravel. Nor did the land itself escape unscathed. For spreading from the site of its release, Black Rose brought death to the very soil. To survive amidst the chaos and upheaval, men came to live by the sword, the rule of law giving way, inevitably, to the rule of might. Thus was the spark struck and the fire kindled, and swiftly did it spread as a blaze in a field of straw to engulf every corner of the world. Nations worthy of the name did then cease to exist. And those souls brave and true who might have risen to restore order were no more. For the weapon spared not one, not even thee. An endless age of war, begotten by the blight of Black Rose. Such is the legacy of the 8th umbral calamity which I did behold. No matter the cost, we must forestall this tragedy. To that end, I have labored during my sojourn in this world, discovering in so doing the answer to a pressing mystery. That of Black Rose's inexplicable potency. Come. Dost thou recognize yonder chart? Indeed. 'Tis a rendering of the elemental wheel, such as one might find in classrooms across the source. As the chart maketh plain, our world is composed of 6 elements, in addition to which there exist 2 poles in fundamental opposition. Astral, the active; umbral, the passive. As a reflection of the source, the first naturally compriseth the selfsame forces. Yet, curiously, there is a notable divergence in their nomenclature. To be specific, the denizens of this world employ not the terms astral and umbral. Thus was I moved to inquire what names said forces had been assigned. A simple question which yielded a most unexpected answer. Upon demanding the name of the pole aligned with activity and growth, I was told that as life's myriad colors combine to produce black, the people of the first had called it darkness. At this, did my mind begin to race. Yet 'twas only when I asked what name had been given to the pole aligned with passivity that mine eyes were opened to the truth. Peace and tranquility being as purest white, unmarred by color, I was told it had been given the name of light.
That's umbral light and astral darkness, yes? I'm no etherologist, but it strikes me that the nomenclature of the first is rooted in the generation of the 2 forces, while our own appears to focus on their effects. Which makes one wonder, have we had it backwards all this time?
"'Tis indeed a compelling question, and one which beareth closer examination. Yet what knowledge we already possess
sufficeth to explain the chain of events. The phenomenon of etheric thinning observed in the source is the consequence of light, the power of stasis, flowing in from the first to stifle the movement of ether within the land. And according to Master Alphino, Black Rose slayeth by halting the circulation of ether within living beings. Should such a weapon be unleashed even as the first were rejoined, replete as it is with light,
we would have a disaster of untold proportions on our hands. A calamity. Well, at least we have a better grasp of what we're facing. Our objective, however, remains unchanged. We are to eliminate the Light Warden of Ilneg. Speaking of which, were you able to ascertain its whereabouts?
Aye. 'Tis all but certainly ensconced within Leergear, the castle which standeth in the midst of the lake. To enter said stronghold, we must needs turn to the Pixies for aid. Fortunately, I have become quite adept at courting their cooperation. Henceforth shall I accompany you, and do all in my power to ensure that my vision doth not come to pass. "'Tis done. The Pixies shall be well pleased with these gifts. Ah, lest I forget. White auracite, newly forged for thy use. Our mission being to thwart a rejoining, we will most assuredly cross paths with those who crave the contrary, our eternal enemies. Thus did I choose to abide in this ether-rich land, the better to fashion a trap for the Ascian's essence.
May I come in now?
You may indeed, assuming you've finished.
I did as you asked.
That's my girl, thank you. I should probably explain. Though my body remained behind in the source, its limitations saw fit to accompany me, which is to say, I cannot manipulate ether. I took up the gunblade for its defensive advantages, but on account of my little impairment, I cannot imbue the ammunition myself. Luckily for me, Minfilia has quite a talent for it.
Minfilia, once we set forth, we are not like to return for some while. If thou wouldst choose tomes to take with thee, let it be now.
Really? May I?
Of course, my dear. Yet have care thou dost not add overmuch to thy burden, lest I incur Thancred's ire. Hast thou spoken to her of thine encounter with the Minfilia of Eld?
Well, I suppose now is as good a time as any. As you know, I freed young Minfilia from captivity in Yulmore some 3 years past. Not long after, the two of us journeyed to the south of Armareng. to the edge of the empty, where the flood was halted. 'Twas there that she awakened. The Minfilia of old. My Minfilia. Tell me, what must I do to bring you back?
My dearest Thancred, as I am now, I am no different from an Ascian. This child is but a vessel. One of many I have used that I might spread word of her enduring blessing and preserve the flame of hope. In my name, each has died, never having lived her own life. I have taken enough from these children. I will take no more.
But what of your suffering? Your sacrifice? This isn't fair! I will not stand for it. I cannot! There must be something we can do. Tell me!
Should the day come when this child grows weary of fighting and wishes to cast it all aside, then shall I take up her burden. But should she wish instead to become the master of her own destiny, then shall I bequeath to her my all. Imbued with the strength that I reserve for rebirth, she may come to wield my powers as her own.
And what of my wishes? What of Flamine's? What of all the people who love and care for you and want nothing more than to see you again?
It is not their decision to make. It is hers. This child's. This Minfilia's. You have ever watched over me, Thancred. Now I ask that you do the same for her. Protect her. Teach her. Stand by her as you stood by me. There is much and more she does not know. She needs a guide to show her the ways of the world, or she will never find her own path. When the time comes, you will find me here. Until that day.
Minfilia, wait!
What happened?
And then she was gone. Minfilia, the girl, claims to have no recollection of any of it. I have told her many things. Where we came from, what we fight for. But of that day, I have not spoken.
With the coming of another possessed of the blessing of light, the first hath begun to rise up in defiance of its fate. The question remaineth, however, who shall take up the flame of hope which Minfilia hath borne for so long? Whether we will it or no, the choice must soon be made.
I'm sorry I took so long. It was so hard to choose. In the end, I settled on just the one.
That is well. Now, if all is in order, let us set forth for Lida Loran.
Well fought, well fought!
Bravo!
Amazing! Jolly good show!
Oh, you do not hold back! But I would have it no other way. Seldom have I enjoyed such sport.
We have satisfied thy demands. Wilt thou now satisfy ours?
Of course. Of course. There it is, the relic you seek. Yours for the taking. Have care you do not break it, though, yes. Ah, but you, my friend, you are mighty indeed, and pleasing to the eye besides.
More? I want to see more of her!
Yes! Yes! I could watch her forever!
Why don't we just make her one of us? Yes! One of us!
One of us! One of us! One of us! One of us! One of us! One of us! One of us! One of us! One of us!
What a fine idea! Why ever didn't I think of that? You may have the crown, but in exchange, we will have you!
Wake up! Wake up, damn you!
Thank the gods. I don't know where you learned to breathe underwater, but it's lucky you can. I'm sure you had your reasons, but the first rule of dealing with the Fwaath is do not deal with the Fwaath. It's said that they are born from the souls of the drowned. Were it not for your little trick, you'd have joined them. Your friends are safely back on dry land, in case you were wondering. They'll be searching for you, I expect. That's the royal capital of the Kingdom of Verbert down there. It's seen better days. They were a stubborn lot, the Verbertites. Set in their ways. But once you got to know them, you couldn't find a more welcoming people. It always froze over in winter, being up in the mountains. So we'd pull up our chairs round the fire and trade tales over steaming bowls of lamb stew, while the street lamps burned hot and bright outside. All dead and buried now. Them and anyone else who might remember. Everything we did. Everything we gave. What was it for? I wonder. I hope you'll have a better answer than this when all's said and done.
Oh, thank goodness. There you are. Those Numo were rather frightening. I'm glad you're safe. I haven't seen much actual combat, so I was a little nervous, but I'm happy I could help. The Minfilius before me battled Sin Eaters as part of the Yulmoran army. But that had all changed by the time I was found. They held me captive, so that I wouldn't follow in the others' footsteps. I'd still be in my cell now had Thancred not spirited me away. When he found me, I knew nothing of the world. I didn't know how to live, let alone fight. Thancred once told me that if the efforts to summon you failed, it would fall to me to face the Light Wardens. I realized then that it was the only reason he kept me close. As a contingency. The truth is, he can't stand to be around me. Because I'm not her. I'm not his Minfilia. Once, we journeyed to Nabatha Reng together. To the place where the Oracle appeared and stayed the flood. As we drew near, I felt as though I was fading away. I shut my eyes and covered my ears, and then... I'm not sure what happened after that. I have a vague feeling that I said something to him. Only it wasn't me at all. It was her. Afterwards, Thancred didn't say a word. Only kept to himself and brooded. There's nothing I can do for him. Nothing I can offer but my presence, though it only reminds him of his loss. She should be the one to live on. That's why I tried to find you, because I knew that was what she wanted. But now that you're here, I'm not entirely sure what it was she intended me to do. Was I meant to tell you something, or bring you to someone, or somewhere? I can feel the answer at the edge of my mind, just out of reach. What is that?
Why? Why did you imprison us? Such boredom, such tedium have we suffered. It is unfair. Unfair. Come. Come and play with us.
It came from the castle. This is everything I have. Please see it delivered to the Nemo. I will bear word to Thancred and the others.
Ah! My medallion! You found it! Oh, I know not how to thank you. It is my most treasured possession. A gift from a dear departed soul. He was a traveler, and together we journeyed to the ends of the world and back again. When I was young. In those days, I could not speak. But we found joy in each other's company nonetheless. Oh, the memories. This medallion he found during an adventure. Fashioned it into a necklace for me, his partner in crime. I had not the words to tell him then, but it filled my heart with pride. I was so happy. His name was Artbert, and he was my friend.
Artbert, thou sayest?
Everyone blamed him for the flood. Him and his comrades. Some few who spoke up for them, of the many whose lives they had touched. But as the years went by, their voices were drowned out by those who only uttered the adventurers' names as a curse. It was too much to bear, and so I left behind men and their lies, and came to this place. Artbert was a trusting soul, constantly being drawn into the troubles of others. Yet in spite of this, he never thought twice when he saw someone in need. He always tried to help. It was no different then. The world needed heroes. It needed him. And yet, he was a good man. He deserved to be happy. I wish I could have told him that, at least. You remind me of him. Your kindness. When we Amaro were created, we were granted the ability to perceive souls. Thus did we recognize our masters. That ability has long since faded from our kind. But due perhaps to my reversion, I can see your soul. Faintly, but surely. It is reminiscent of Ardbird's. Strikingly so. Of course, you are you and no one else. We are defined not by the soul we are born with, but the path we walk. Nevertheless, I cannot help but feel that this is more than mere coincidence. Which is why I will place my faith in you. The relic. It is yours.
There's trouble! Terrible trouble!
Has something happened at Lida Loran?
Together with the twins, we were playing tricks on some nasty mortals to stop them from setting foot in Ilmeg. At first they ran off screaming, which was lots of fun. But then a scary, bony, wrinkly old mortal came along and spoiled everything. None of our tricks seemed to work on him, which is no fun at all. And now they're getting closer and closer.
Ranjit. If he manages to find his way in, all our efforts will have been for naught.
As thou sayest. Should we be discovered ere our mission here is complete, and the Light Warden yet liveth, our task will be rendered nigh impossible. If we are to prevail, we must needs divide our forces. Thus do I propose the following. Whilst thou salliest forth to meet with the Light Warden, we shall join in the effort to obstruct the trespassers. Should we succeed in staying their advance, all the better. Yet even should we fail, if we can but delay our enemy's arrival long enough for thee to secure victory, our plan may still be deemed a success.
So the moment the lights go out, we all beat a hasty retreat, yes?
Let me come with you. I have the blessing too.
No, Midfelia. You'll only get underfoot. Now come.
I wish there were more I could do. Please be careful.
We can play no more.
You have freed our fallen king. Not that I expected any less, my Snayak. The dress, the crown, the scepter, the shoes. The time has come for these relics to serve their true purpose. For they are not only keys to the castle, they are also blessings to be bestowed upon the new king. The way into the castle is opened when it is time to relieve the reigning monarch of the throne. And the brave soul who does the deed has the honor of taking their place. However, should you ascend the throne, you will become one of us, never again to live as men do. My adorable sapling, my precious mortal. We Fae folk live forever, but such is not your virtue. To strive for a dream you will never see, to sow seeds that others might one day taste the fruits of your garden, that is the beauty of your kind. Burn bright and shine as only you can. These blessings, your lovely branch will accept in your stead. Kinla, Ilishla, Ilmek, Okbra. Now, shall we attend to those unwise enough to trespass in our realm?
Confound it! How did they get here so fast?
Damn these pixies and their tricks!
How in the seven hells?
Listen well. We come in pursuit of villains who have fled to this land. You know who and where they are. Now show yourselves and answer me before I lose my patience.
Oh, stop! It hurts! It hurts!
Enough! Lift the enchantment!
Minfilia, willful child, how many times must I come to collect you?
I won't return to Yulmore. And I won't let you hurt my friends.
What is this stance? Where did you learn it? No oracle I trained would make such an unseemly show of herself. Know your shame, gal. You're powerless. You have no life nor purpose, save that which our master sees fit to permit.
Who are you to dictate her purpose? To lock her away and deny her a life? If she was powerless, it's because of you, you sanctimonious swine. But no longer.
Fool! Defiance only begets more suffering. It is through acceptance alone that one may find solace in this god's-forsaken world.
Look! The sky!
She's done it. The Warrior of Darkness has triumphed.
General? What are our orders? What do we do?
We do what we came to do. Subdue this rabble and find the Warrior of Darkness.
Forward, men! Take the villains captive! Are you deaf? I said...
Axla Orwain! Axla Orwain! What? What's happening? Water? That wasn't there before. Ah!
Orwai Kansasi, Orwai Kinsi.
Help me! What's the matter with you? Get a hold of yourselves, damn it! General, they come in greater numbers. We must retreat.
All who stand with a Warrior of Darkness shall face justice. My master demands it.
I see. Well, it's a good thing Feor volunteered to become king in your stead, for all our sakes.
We are grateful for your timely aid, Feor, or should I say, your majesty.
It was the first night in recent memory. We all of us but wished to make the most of it. That's something you must remember about us Fey folk. Though our existence may be eternal, we exist only for the present. We live in the here and now, paying no mind to futures that may or may not be. To wit, we are not driven as men are. We cannot fight for such causes as men do.
Does that mean you won't aid us against the Sin Eaters?
Not unless the mood takes us. But if it was to repay a debt, well then, that's another matter. To take back as much as is taken. To create as much as is destroyed. To give as much as is received. Such is the way of Ilmeg. By this law, we shall lend you our strength, in return for the beautiful sky you have restored to us. In times of need, do not hesitate to call. silly sapling. I shall remain at your side. Even should my body be in the castle, 'tis a simple thing to have a little part of me accompany you. Treat them as you would your Isnefis.
All seems well at the Crystarium.
Yes. Yulmore was plainly more concerned with finding us. How flattering.
You certainly took your time. I had half resolved to complete the task myself.
And you are...
Were one to study the annals of Garlean history, one would find yonder visage on many a page. Though by rights its youth should long since have faded.
Well, well, we have a historian in our midst. That spares me a lengthy explanation. I am Solus Sos Galvus, founding father of the Garlean Empire, and under various guises, the architect of myriad other imperially inclined nations. As for my true identity... I am Emmett Selk, Ascian.
Gaius spoke of you. A native of the Source.
Equal in rank to La Habrea. And you came all this way just to introduce yourself to us?
Behold the sky, restored to its former glory. Have you ever seen a more affecting spectacle? Oh, it is truly, deeply... infuriating. Do you have any idea how much you have delayed the rejoining? Following the flood, the First had been listing ever further towards the light, towards stasis. The end was in sight. Enter man and his indomitable spirit. He would haul the world back from the brink. And adding his lumpen weight to the power of growth, he duly tipped the scales, if only by a fraction. Yet a fraction was enough to spoil the perfect imbalance needed to bring about a rejoining. Had mankind continued to live in idleness under Vorthri's rule, all the conditions would have been met. But you had to come and ruin it all. Thanks to your meddling, light supremacy is in doubt, and our painstakingly laid plans are in tatters!
Well, I should begin by thanking you for confirming Urianger's theories on the inner workings of the Calamity. He will be most pleased. As for what happens next, might I suggest you admit defeat and walk away?
Happy to let me go, are you? Because the murderous glint in your eye suggests otherwise. Indeed, it is enough to make me think better of confronting you alone. Look, It did cross my mind to simply side with Vorthri and kill you all, but that's no different from what Lahabret did. And we all know how well that ended for him. And so, while it is liable to be troublesome, I have settled upon a different approach. Cooperation. I will not raise a hand to hinder your hunt for the Light Wardens. If you desire it, I will even lend you my knowledge and strength.
Since time immemorial, you and yours have labored to rejoin the 13 shards, at the cost of countless lives. Do you expect us to believe that your objective has suddenly changed?
Nay, our objective is the same as it ever was. Though I dare say, you do not know our motive. A war waged without knowledge of the enemy is no war. It is mere bloodletting. Just once, might we not seek to find common ground? For good or ill, I am immortal. Provided I have the inclination, I can always begin anew, scheme and conspire to my heart's content. But this time I thought that I might instead try to see eye to eye, to understand what drives the hero of the Source, to determine if our goals are truly incompatible. So come, shed your preconceptions. See beyond the unscrupulous villains you take us for. When all is said and done, we may find ourselves pleasantly surprised. The proud discoverers of a path of cooperation rather than opposition. Think of it.
Thou hast delivered thy proposal, and we would not dismiss it outright. If I may offer thee counsel, however, to make thy case via an illusion reflecteth poorly upon thy sincerity.
My apologies. You will forgive me if I'm not entirely at ease in the presence of a famed Ascian slayer. I felt it only prudent to take precautions. Nonetheless, your counsel is duly noted. I take my leave, friends. Rest assured, we shall meet again soon.
From the Exarch, is it? With that mirror of his, he can watch your every move, you know. He'll probably think you're talking to yourself. Still, he's keeping you well fed. Judging by his people's faith in him, he seems to be a decent sort. But so much about him remains shrouded in mystery. Like, what was he doing back in my day? There was no such person when I was around. A lot's happened since the Flood, though. Since I was set adrift. I know little more than you do of this city's history in the Exarch's past. Not that it matters. It's Emmet Selk we should be concerned about. When our world was about to be consumed by light, the Ascian in white appeared before us. He said that the only way for us to live on was to bring about the rejoining. Desperate as we were, We heeded his words, not realizing that the flood was of the Ascian's own making. They cannot be trusted. None of them. But Emet-Selch had one thing right. One should not fight blindly. That's what we did. And it cost us everything we held dear. You mean Seto? Well, that's... I suppose you're right. He's done some growing. When we were traveling together, he was nowhere near as big, and he obviously couldn't speak. I had no idea how much that medallion meant to him. What about you, anyway? You must have a friend like Seto. Chocobo, perhaps? Come on, you tell me something for a change.